Okay, so welcome to this Fireside chat where we'll navigate the complexities of hybrid work models. As organizations strive to balance remote and in-office operations, they face these challenges in managing the hybrid environments effectively. Today, we're going to delve into these challenges and explore how a new enhancement to HP Anywhere called Anyware Manager Enterprise can be a game changer in this landscape. Join us as we embark on a journey to understand the intricacies of hybrid work and the solutions that can make it seamless and productive. So let's get started. My name is Alex Tang, and I'm a product marketer for HP Anywhere. And today, along with me for the ride is Amruta Vansalkar, documentation specialist for HP Anywhere. And I have Michael Walsh, distinguished technologist at HP Anywhere, and Kevin Brosnan, product manager also at HP Anywhere. So Amruta and I will conduct the questions, and Michael and Kevin will be our subject matter experts. So let's get things started. I'll start with Mike. Mike, what has been the general trend so far as hybrid work models have been concerned, and how has Anywhere fit into this equation?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious to everybody that pre-pandemic, the number of employees that needed to access their applications and data from a remote location, whether it's home or an office or a hotel, was relatively small, maybe around 10%. And obviously, as we went through the work from home phase for almost everybody, people got used to and comfortable with accessing things remotely. Now, as we settle into a post-pandemic world, the number is still pretty high. If you look at most reports from, say, an IDC or similar, or even the Littler annual employee survey, they have it at 70% of people work at least one day from outside the office. So the trend has really changed in the sense that employees expect to be able to get access and do their job from something that is not a location that is not part of an office or a company-owned location.
Indeed, the pandemic has been a catalyst in making the hybrid work model popular. While it gives added freedom and flexibility to employees, I'm sure it brings with it added challenges for the organizations. Kevin, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, I think so. The good news is that we have a lot of enablement for the employees, but as you mentioned, Marita, the IT staff has a different set of challenges. The security perimeter is obviously a lot wider. We used to be able to defend a network, defend a set of applications within known locations, and now most employees can work from a location where we don't know all the settings. We don't know what the local area network looks like. We certainly don't know what the home Wi-Fi looks like. So from a security perspective, it's much more difficult. And then from a support perspective, it's also a wide area network approach where the administrator is typically remote. The end user is definitely remote because they're not in the office. So we have to have better tools and different tools to support troubleshooting problems and accomplishing tasks that used to be just walking down the hall and figuring out what's wrong with somebody's laptop or PC. So the support model has changed. The security challenge is a little bit more difficult. And now as we add on applications like AI-enabled applications, we're also adding to the load of IT staffs that typically don't have more personnel to answer all these variations. So it's become more challenging, and the tool set expectation is that we simplify it for administrators and make them more efficient at the same time.
Okay, yeah, Mike, one thing you mentioned was administrators, and one challenge is having different solutions integrated to try to manage things like digital workspaces. What is the challenge of having different management tools from different vendors versus having one unified control plane? What are the pros and cons of this approach?
This is time and expertise. You have to have a different skill set typically for these things. I mean, it's comfortable, right? Traditional VDI approaches that might have been, there before we had a bigger hybrid work model, or VPNs, which we've used off and on for different secure access methods. Both of those are pretty comfortable because we knew them, but they're not scalable. We can't. They're typically local in terms of geography. They're typically very focused on a very specific set of users. So the hybrid work model asks for a much more scalable approach so that we can have people that maybe need to access a virtual desktop and a digital workspace, or maybe they need occasional access to a physical workstation like a Z workstation. Those two tool sets have traditionally been separate, but we're really asking for the same thing. We want secure remote access to the applications and data. So it doesn't make sense to have our IT staff learn different technology stacks to get to the same goal if we can combine all those in one place like we do with Anyware Manager Enterprise. So I think it's a simplification. It's also an acknowledgement that as technology has evolved, we don't need these these relatively large and complex technology stacks to support remote access when employees need it to various targets.
So we talked about the peculiarities of a hybrid work model, the digital workspaces, and also the challenges of finding a solution to manage them all. What can you tell us about Anyware Manager Enterprise and how do you see it fit in?
With Anyware Manager Enterprise, organizations now have access to a single end-to-end remote desktop solution that can support hybrid, multi-cloud environments, and with a focus of reducing their IT footprint and reliance on complex multi-point solutions, as Mike mentioned. With this, we've delivered the solution as a multi-tenant SaaS model. Anyware Manager Enterprise, it automates tenant deployment, machine provisioning, user assignment, connection broking, and more. And all of this helps streamline workflows and frees up those IT admins to focus on higher value work. And also eliminates some of that subject matter expert need with the more traditional solutions that they've been using today. With that, we've actually paired this solution with our HP hosted cloud gateways. And with that, we're facilitating that fast and secure communication between the clients and cloud hosted apps and services. And this eliminates the need for custom connectors, on-premise setups, and it makes it much faster and easier to get users up and running with secure access to their remote or virtual desktops.
Okay, and Kevin, what types of organizations should you consider Anyware Manager Enterprise?
With Anyware Manager Enterprise, we're enabling both large enterprises and partners, MSPs, systems integrators with this control plane. They can be, with enterprises, they might be an existing, let's say, vSphere customer, and that's what they've used as their traditional VDI infrastructure. But maybe they're interested in using Win365. We're enabling that without them having to deploy anything within their infrastructure. So reducing that complexity and allows them to get up and running really quick. With our multi-tenancy and role-based access control, we're also enabling our partners to be able to take care of their customers from that same single control plane.
Kevin, you talked about how AME is different in many ways. We want to know how AME addresses issues such as integration and how it does it differently from the other alternatives.
So I'll take Win365 for example. So traditionally, customers would have to deploy gateways and services within their own environment. They would have to then manage their provisioning policies, lifecycle management. With Anyware Manager Enterprise, we're integrated into Microsoft Entra ID for identity management and user assignment to keep things secure with support for the multi-factor authentication. And we're also automating a lot of those lifecycle tasks. So let's take your traditional VDI customer. They've been using VMware as their underlying infrastructure for offering remote desktops, which requires a lot of expertise for their IT staff and a lot of IT footprint from an infrastructure standpoint. And now with everything that's going on in the market, they're trying to evaluate Win365. With Anyware Manager Enterprise, they can continue to use the VMware infrastructure that they've already spent CapEx on. And with that same control plane, they can actually go and enable their users to have remote digital workspaces in Win365. And to do that, they follow a UI-driven workflow that automates the provisioning and onboarding of these users and machines. And they don't have to install anything at all within their environment. So in a matter of hours, they can go from not having ever really touched Win365 and actually be onboarding and having users use that as machines.
Okay, great. Can you walk us through, is Anywhere Manager Enterprise sold standalone, or how does this affect existing Anywhere customers, for example? So just explain a bit of it, how to get Anywhere Manager Enterprise, essentially.
Yeah, so it's actually included with the existing subscriptions for Anywhere. That can be Anywhere standard licenses or Anywhere professional licenses. There's no add-on or additional cost to be able to utilize Anywhere Manager Enterprise. And in the future, we're also going to be enabling monthly subscription via the Azure Marketplace.
Okay. And then looking forward, Mike or Kevin, you can answer this, but what can we expect from Anywhere Manager Enterprise? What are some things that maybe a little bit of tidbits that you can share that you're excited about? And how do you envision the evolution to meet the demands of hybrid work models?
Maybe I'll start, and then Mike can follow up. So really excited. In our coming iterations, we're going to be adding support for physical workstations. I think this is a big differentiator and really supports the hybrid work model well. So that will enhance the flexibility that we're providing to customers from this single control plane. And then with the Cloud Gateway service, the Cloud Gateway service is also going to be expanded. So we've started that in North America today. That's available. And we'll be expanding that globally as we move along. So next we'll be going into Northwest Europe, and then we'll be expanding across the globe from there. Mike?
I think the other part of it is sort of acknowledgement that when we talk about remote access and end user computing, typically has to fit into an existing IT footprint. So as we start working with customers and partners, we're really listening for feedback on what other environment should we be targeting, or what other features and specific configurations within Windows 365 and vSphere and these physical workstations. What are the other features that would help with some of those lifecycle processes that Kevin mentioned, provisioning, configuration, user assignment, updates, all of that type of capability. The whole idea here is to take the repetitive tasks and try and capture those as something that we can automate on the back end. So when we think about going forward with our administrator customers and our partner administrators, it's really about figuring out what are the things that we need to do to make their jobs easier and to take some of those repetitive tasks off their plate. And then I think the other portion of it that we're really excited about is that operationally, because the user is remote, we're looking at getting more information in the hands of the administrator for both troubleshooting and then for health. So when you think about telemetry, when it comes down to round trip time or bandwidth utilization or the health of the machine, it really does help the administrator when we start providing that information in real time. So be looking for that in the short term here in the next couple of release cycles, because that's the other half of the equation beyond the tasks, is to give them the feedback that's necessary to support these users.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bo. So yeah, we're hearing a lot of buzz about the HP Workforce Experience platform. So this is like the single pane of glass modular platform that combines a lot of different HP services together. One of these services or modules is HP Anywhere, HP Anyware-powered digital workspaces. Mike, how do you see Anywhere fitting into Workforce Experience platform, and how would people benefit from this?
I think really from the business perspective, when we talk about the workforce experience, we're really talking about how do employees get access to their everyday technical needs. So they get access to their applications and their data. And workforce experience is really focused on making sure that's a good experience. Now, obviously, if I'm at home, I need to get that secure remote access first. So that part fits in nicely with the overall mission. But then when we think about the next couple of steps for that, enablement should be straightforward. So if I need to build a digital workspace or I need to enable a physical workstation to get remote access, that will be fitting into the workforce experiences set of tasks. Then the last piece of this that workforce experience is really focused on is remediation of problems and assisting administrators in identifying and then fixing those. So if you think about what we just talked about in terms of, hey, I have a bad user session or my machine is not connecting, when we fit into the workforce experience telemetry sort of round trip model, this is a very specific set of use case and problem sets that from the Anywhere side, we'll be providing the information back to the workforce experience platform. And that fits into the bigger mode of, hey, there's something wrong, get that information to the correct administrator, and then give them the tool set to fix that. Maybe it's restart a session, restart a machine, even rebuild a machine. So the ability to do that right from that one pane of glass you were talking about is the eventual goal of the integrated product.
Okay, cool. And I guess the idea is to really be proactive, right? Rather than these issues bubbling up before it becomes a huge issue that could really impact your company.
Yeah, and anybody who's worked in IT tech for long enough, there's some things you can predict, right? If the performance of the session continues to to degrade hour after hour, it's usually because something's either wrong with the network or the machine's resources are being overused or saturated. So because we have that information, we can be somewhat predictive in saying, hey, it's bad now. We're kind of uncomfortable now. It's going to be really bad in 4 hours. That's when we want to try and jump on those situations and fix those before they prevent people from getting their job done. Because that's again the overall job of the workforce experience platform is to make sure I can get my job done as an employee. And if we can anticipate problems in advance of that, it's definitely the overall goal. And because Anywhere is a remote solution, we just have a different set of data that we look at when we're trying to troubleshoot a problem than say walking up to a laptop and trying to figure that out from there.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Mike and Kevin, and thank you for joining me, Amruta, on this fireside chat. We hope you leave with a deeper understanding of Anywhere within the hybrid work ecosystem and really what Anyware Manager Enterprise can do now. We're really excited about this new feature, this new solution indeed. And yeah, we hope you check out some of the resources we have on the web, online, and follow up with any of the salespeople as well. So thank you so much for your time again, and we'll see you next time.